welcome. We're with Michael Long, winner of the 1996 New Zealand Open here at Paraparaumu Beach. Currently residing in Perth, which I guess in itself is socially distanced from the rest of the world, so to speak. In New Zealand, we're currently in lockdown. What's the virus looking like, and what's things looking like in Perth right now?
Yeah, it's thanks, Leo. Yeah, it's crazy times, and what's normal, what's not normal for us. Well, for me personally, perhaps from not having any work and not being able to play, go around the world playing golf and do a few lessons. Not much has changed, but I think going forward in the next year, whatever it is, things will probably be all still a bit strange. But at the moment for us, we're still over here in Perth. You're right, we are isolated. That's one thing. So it hasn't struck us hard. I think it's pretty much the same in New Zealand. We haven't had many deaths and infection rates still pretty low. I think everyone's got on board. Perth's that sort of lifestyle, a bit like New Zealand, only maybe a little hotter. It's an outdoor lifestyle, pretty easy to social distance. So,
are you confined to your homes?
No, not confined to our homes. We can still we can still play golf. They stopped it for about 2 or 3 days, and then they realised, look, for social well-being and that type of stuff. So we can go and play 2 balls, card each, 10-minute intervals on the tee time, and it's just that pretty much is normal. Golf rounds now take about 2.5, 3 hours, which is fantastic. Probably getting around about 2 hours 20 in a cart. You don't have to rake bunkers. You have to worry about the flags. It's just hit it, go to the next tee. So it's kind of cool. It's a bit like playing speed golf. It's quite fun.
Simple golf, yeah.
Well,
Michael, as I said, we're in lockdown, and these interviews, I guess, are a small way of staying connected with our members and friends of Paraparaumu Beach. But they're also, it's presented an opportunity for us to connect with people that I guess have had a special affinity with Paraparaumu Beach over the years, and certainly with your New Zealand Open win amongst other achievements is certainly ticks that box. So from our point of view, it's wonderful to reconnect. I've personally been really looking forward to this interview. You're just slightly older than me, and so as your career was taking off, I guess my passion and enthusiasm for the game was just starting to develop. So you were amongst a number of really good New Zealand golfers we had at that time that were not only performing well in the domestic scene, but of course then branched out, and it was really exciting to be able to turn the TV on and see New Zealanders on the leaderboard and high up on the leaderboard, and Michael Long was certainly one of those names. So
thank you. Yeah, thanks. It was a good time. I mean, you're right. There was a fantastic group of players. I don't know whether it's ever reached those heights again, but for something like the Eisenhower team, where there's only 4 spots, we legitimately had 12 guys you could substitute in and out. So made competition very tough, and everyone was really having to play well each week to get in those, to make it at the amateur level. And then obviously I think those traits carried across to the professional career for a lot of the guys.
It was interesting just talking to a couple of your counterparts through that period. Yeah, I mean, they adopted the attitude that if they could be better than the Kiwi that was next to them, ultimately they'd actually be doing okay up on the world stage. And that was really interesting to hear, actually.
Yeah, it was Alex Mercer was the one who was our head coach, New Zealand national coach at the time, and he was more a coach than a teacher. So he basically said, when we were starting to go, this nucleus of this team starting to go away on trips across the interstate series here in Australia and stuff like that, he was saying, look, you guys are just as good. You just don't know it. You guys are just as good. And he tried to drum that into us. And I think if you go through towards the end of my career, it's pretty much the same thing as now. If you can't beat the guys in your own back, well, if you can't beat your guys in your pennant team, well, there's no point thinking of trying to go on to the next level and so on. And for us, it was sort of, we got drummed into the mentality, well, if we can beat those guys, let's see what we can do at the next level. And so it just kept on challenging us, which I think is pretty important in this game.
So you're born in the deep south in Cromwell, but then
Yeah.
the family went complete opposite and moved to the far north at Waitangi, which is a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I mean, my father he was a hotel manager, and quite highly respected in the tourism industry. And we went from, I think at that stage we were in Wanaka. We were living in Wanaka. And then we moved to Tiana, which is another resort area, THC Hotel, and then to Waitangi. And that's where I first sort of started playing a little bit of golf. And then when I was about 11 or 12, we moved to Waitangi, and that's where the bug pretty much hit me. I had a week off before my school started. My brothers had gone to a different school. So I had 7 days to fill in, and I think I probably played about 10 rounds of golf in 7 days, and that was pretty much it.
Okay. And was your father a golfer?
Yes, he was. I think I got down to, because kept on moving around, Waitangi, he never actually had an official handicap, but he was close to single figures. If just on that cusp of 10 to 8 to 12, somewhere around there. So he could hit the ball really well. Putting was probably his downfall. It wasn't the strongest part of his game, but yeah, he loved the game and enjoyed it. And I'd go out and caddy for him and on the golf course at Waitangi. Totally different to what it is now. It was actually owned by the government then, and but still wonderful golf course even back then, and now from what I hear, it's even prettier, and it's had some nice TLC, some tender loving care, and it really is. From what I hear, one of New Zealand's great golf courses.
It's a beautiful sanctuary. They've surrounded it with predator-proof fencing as well, and introduced another element with kiwis and wildlife and things like that. So
fantastic. But then not to say that, I mean, I went to Waitangi, which was something totally different, but arguably I'd say, well, I think back then I was paying $20 a year to be a member, as a junior member there. Yeah. And now that travel the world, I don't think I realised, I know I didn't realise how lucky I was to play such a beautiful golf course up there as well. So New Zealand's blessed with great countryside and great golf courses and views and vistas, and Waitangi, I hear, has also gone on from strength to strength.
Yeah, it's a lovely spot. It's interesting with that junior membership because, okay, I mean, it was $20 back then. It's kind of the equivalent now. Like, I mean, it's around $100. And if I put that into context, I've got a couple of boys and a couple of girls. But my wife won't tell me what dancing costs. I suspect that costs about $100 a week. So golf is relatively accessible, and yeah, certainly I grew up the same way with those $20 to $50 memberships, and it was a great way to get involved in the sport.
And look, I mean, you can make it as expensive as you want or as cheap as you want. And in terms of equipment, I know there's a big push on equipment, the latest equipment, but still, it's I have the saying that it's the Indian, not the arrow, basically, and basically when you're playing, if you can move it with some clubs that aren't high tech, well, you're a pretty good golfer.
So, what stage, as a youngster, did you start to get the feeling that, hey, I can play this game, and I can obviously play it pretty well?
Well, like a lot of kids in New Zealand, I would have played a lot of sports, and I did. I played soccer and never played rugby, really. Never really got into that, maybe because I wasn't tough enough. I find it an amazing sport to watch and how strong those guys are. But volleyball, I played a bunch of sports. Volleyball, tennis. Tennis had a bit of a temper. Sometimes I probably wasn't well suited to that. And golf was probably a bit fiery now and then. But over the years, it calmed a little bit. So I played a lot of different sports. Cricket, loved my cricket. And then I sort of turned up to a soccer practice one evening, and half the guys turned up. And I turned to my coach and I said, look, if no one else is going to turn, if only half the team's turning up, I'm going to go and do something else. This is so. I sort of had that drive or want to, if I'm going to turn up something, do it really well. So then that's sort of when golf took off a little bit more for me. And not that I had any aspirations of where it was going to lead. And I still remember this. I think it was run by the Eagles Golf Foundation. I don't know whether you can remember them, but a lot of volunteers. And
Still there. Yeah.
Still around.
Yeah.
And they ran a school competition, and you had to have a team of 3 go and play in a school competition. Now, this was down in Whangarei. So back then it was a good hour's drive from Waitangi or Kerikeri High School, where I went to. And I managed to con 2 of my mates. I said, come on, let's go and play. Let's just go and play this thing. And Grant Martin and Grant Sorensen. And I said, come on, guys, let's go. And thank goodness they said, yep, they went and played. So you had to have a team of 3. And I think we had to push the family holiday back by a day. Anyway, so I went and played, and I didn't know what was going on, but it was a 27-hole competition, and I won it. For some reason, I beat there was a couple of good players there at the time who were considered good players, and then the junior squads and that. And I remember this guy, John Sutcliffe, who was, I don't think he's with us anymore, but he was the Eagle representative. He came up to me afterwards and says, do you want to come down and start playing a few, tryouts and competitions? And from there, I was just hooked. That was it. Pretty much I enjoyed the competition, and that's what I still do. I still love the competition. And from there, it was, all right, let's just go and play. And you sort of, again, you just go from level to level, and I don't know, it just kept on going. I'm not a big goal setter. I never really had any goals. I believe you have to have a dream, or you sort of got to dream a little bit. But I'm not a big fan of setting these goals and you must achieve this and that. I mean, there's a quote by Yogi Berra, great Yankees catcher, and he's famous for misquoting quotes. And one of the ones he says is, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. And to me, that's pretty much it. Don't overthink it. Just go with the flow and see where it leads.